Hello, DevOps friends. This is Full Stack Live, and I'm Jochen, the Monospace Mentor. Welcome to my stream, and welcome. Happy Thursday. Always confusing the two. Happy Thursday, everyone. It's almost the end of the week again. And it's time for another live coding stream where I'm going to build stuff for our managed hosting platform that my business has been running for 13 years now, and that is still going strong. So it's time to continue to work on monitoring, namely Prometheus and its black box exporter. I'm going to use that to monitor specific services like HTTP endpoints or SSH ports and things like that. So that's going to be today's stream. We might do a few words on stream as well. I think that'll help me catch my breath from time to time. And maybe, just maybe, I'm going to try and set up Nextcloud on my HomeLab server. Because that's, I think, what I would love to use personally. We've been using Nextcloud in my company for a while now, and I'm pretty happy with what it provides us with, which is mostly file storage at this time, but we'll also get into Office documents and things like that, because we are in the process of moving off all the big internet companies like Google and Zoom and things like that. So Nextcloud has been a great alternative for that, and privately I'm using Dropbox, and I'm pretty happy with it. I have a 2 terabyte plan, so there's plenty of storage. I'm not too happy with my photo situation at the moment, because while iCloud takes care of that, because if I'm taking photos from my iPhone. I don't have a nice way to get that on my Linux workstation and weed out photos that I don't need to save and stuff like that. So I'm interested in how Nextcloud and its photo library feature can deal with that. And that's why I'm definitely going to set up Nextcloud on my HomeLab server. Maybe today, maybe another day. We'll see how quickly I'm going to make progress today. That's it for the preamble, I think. And let's not make this a 2 or 3 hour monologue on my side. Let's keep this an interactive thing, so just like an OTIC-D, pop into chat, say hello, and ask questions, share what you're doing, share things that you are excited about. We can have a chat while I'm doing serious work, and I really do enjoy having a chat with you people. I mean, I could work in solitary and very focused fashion in the next 2 or 3 hours, but I chose to go online, and that's simply because of people like you. And yeah, don't hold back, say hello. I mean, if you want to lurk, that's fine too, of course, but it's more fun for everyone involved if we can have a nice little conversation. Anotic-D, how are you doing? Welcome to the stack. Hope you're doing well. And yeah, let us know what you're doing, how you're doing. How has your Thursday been going so far? Alright, so let me get sorted. I was in a bit of a rush earlier. I came back late from my lunch hour and had to rush, and had to make coffee, which reminds me I should drink that while it's still hot, or at least warm. So good. These are the better beans again. We had to stretch our beans a little bit with supermarket beans, or I bought a bag of the blonde roast from Starbucks, because I was there anyway, and those beans weren't blonde. They were black as night, and I have no idea how that can be labeled a blonde roast, and I wouldn't want to see what the dark roast looks like. That must be charcoal. So no, I do enjoy a blonde roast because I usually drink it as a latte with oat milk, and so it doesn't need to be that heavy and bitter. I like it more sweet. And now I guess we're back to my proper beans, which I get from a domestic roaster here in Ireland. And those are mostly blonde roasts, and I can definitely taste that we went through the layer of supermarket or Starbucks beans and arrived back at the good ones. All right, so yeah, I'm still experimenting with my screen layout here, so that might explain why I'm a little bit disoriented from time to time. At least I have a keyboard on my desk at the moment that I can work quickly with. Yes, I'm actually collecting keyboards, or I have been collecting keyboards. I at the moment, there's nothing that I would add to my collection, but there are quite a few nice ones that I got my hands on. It's about between 2,000 and 3,000 euro worth of keyboards back there, because they are all custom keyboards that I got in group buys. They are not off-the-shelf keyboards, even though they are now shelf keyboards. Fragberg, good morning to you, sir. How are you doing on this lovely Thursday? Here in Ireland, it's already Thursday afternoon, and it's a nice Thursday afternoon for a change. Sun's out, and there's a slight breeze, no rain at the moment. So yeah, great weather to go outside later, because I'm definitely going to take a walk, not a run, not a speed walk, just a simple stroll around the woods, and just to catch a bit of fresh air and listen to my own thoughts. While I'm listening to podcasts when I'm out running or speed walking, because that won't allow coherent thoughts anyway. When I finish my live streams, I don't have enough time to do a longer run and then have a shower and stuff before dinner. That's all a little bit too packed, especially since tonight I'm going to have a raid night with my World of Warcraft guild. So there's only space for a walk that doesn't require a shower afterwards. And during these walks, I'm not going to listen to podcasts. That's when I simply switch off. I don't have even headphones in. And that's when I get quite a few good ideas, I think. Even though Fragberg says listening to my own thoughts is rarely a good idea, don't sell yourself short. I mean, you have no idea how many idiotic thoughts I have, but now and then there's a diamond in the rough, and it's all worth it. Yeah, I see what you mean, and I'm taking you seriously. I think that's also an opportunity to get to know yourself a little bit better, to take a look at your current situation, about your place in life, things like that. That sounds very philosophical, but if there is something that keeps nagging you and you notice that a specific thought comes on over and over and over again, maybe that's something that you should make a note of and take a closer look at, or maybe there's something that you can derive in terms of actions that you can do. Oh yes, definitely. Not every idea that comes to me during these silent walks is a great idea. And there's my lovely wife bringing me my iPhone that I forgot down at the coffee station. Okay, let's put you here. And maybe let's switch on focus mode. That doesn't work. Why doesn't it work anymore? Did I? Oh, whatever. Let's do it manually then. Okay, brilliant. Let's switch here. Nice. Yeah, those ideas still need weeding out, but I guess that's the same for all of us. Show me the person that has great ideas all the time they have an idea. Except, of course, Elon Musk. Okay, so let's get going. Let's go and do some infrastructure coding. Which means I need to switch to a different session, namely the cookbooks session. Why is there... Yeah, okay, we're clean. So, on Tuesday I came to a certain point where I realized that the underlying cookbook that I am using has a bug, and that bug needs to be resolved. So let me see. I don't actually have a browser window. Okay, let's solve that problem. Okay, let's go to GitLab. I'm pretty sure that's the issue that I'm going to work on. Yes. So... So the problem is that I'm generating a YAML configuration file from a data structure, but I'm treating this data structure like a Ruby hash, and the problem is that it isn't a hash. So there is stuff that gets included in there that I definitely don't want in there, and I can actually show you how that looks like by simply spinning up my test suite for the Prometheus Frysteel cookbook. There is the server test suite that I'm going to use here, namely the server test suite for Ubuntu 20. And I'm going to converge that. And converge in terms of the configuration management software that I'm using, which is called Chef, always means spinning up a Linux VM, deploying Chef on there, then running my infrastructure code, which sets up everything. And then there are also test suites that I can apply to this VM and make sure that everything in that VM looks like it is supposed to look like. And at the moment, that's not the case. And in order to show that, I'll simply log into that VM. There's no Prometheus subdirectory yet, because on the left side the converge run is still going. I mean, in the meantime, I can actually show you my keyboard of the day. So today I'm working on a Saturn 60, which is a nice little 60% keyboard. What's nice about this thing is not only does it have a handle with which I can take it to Starbucks, for example, easily. But it's also built with a nice steel case, and as you can see, it has LEDs on both sides, which are also a nice touch here. So converging is still going on. We do have a Prometheus directory now, but I'm not sure if we are already done. We might be, because on the left side it seems to be setting up the Nginx proxy that goes in front of the whole Prometheus setup. But now that we are finished, I can actually take a look at the black box exporter. No, at the Prometheus. Prometheus YAML file. The black box exporter itself is configured correctly, but as you can see, this here, that doesn't look right. That's strange stuff in there, and that is because the data structure that I'm turning into YAML here is not a raw, plain Ruby hash. In fact, it's something that's based on a hash, but it's much more than that, which is the Chef node immutable mash. And this mash has additional metadata, and all this metadata gets rendered in here as well. So what I would love to see here is params colon, then module colon, and then SSH banner as the singular array element below that, and all that internal and IVARs stuff here is not supposed to be there. And that is because the underlying cookbook, the Prometheus X cookbook, does not correctly convert that data into a plain Ruby hash. So let's go and shut this VM down, and I'm going to switch to a different cookbook, the Prometheus X cookbook, and just to make sure that the Git status is clean, that's the case. Okay, so let me switch to GitLab. And the issue that I've created is issue 882, which means that's also going to be the name of the branch that I'm going to use here. I'll check out the master branch first, make sure I have all the latest changes. There is a new branch, but no new files no new updates in the master branch, so I can actually use that and create 882 Prometheus YAML. By prefixing the branch name with the issue number, I can make GitLab automatically correlate the two. So when I merge this branch, GitLab will automatically also close the issue. That's quite convenient, and that's why we've adopted this convention. And now I can switch into this cookbook directory, take a look at the test suite here. Sometimes at this point I would run this whole test suite consisting of 4 different integration test packages, just to make sure that I didn't inherit any errors that would throw me off, where I would look for the cause in my own code, even though I actually brought them in with the latest updates. But since I was the last person that worked on this particular cookbook, I am pretty confident that there aren't any errors, and if there were any that I wasn't aware of, well, would be my own errors, I guess. So, let's see. Prometheus X. In the Prometheus recipe, I do quite a bit of data munging here, because I need to be able to pass in Prometheus configuration in the form of node attributes. Node attributes are basically key value pairs that are assigned to a specific node in our infrastructure, and by node in this case I mean a host, a Linux machine, and each of these Linux machines can have their own set of node attributes. Of course, if you have a large infrastructure with very similar kinds of roles, server roles, then these roles will probably also have quite similar node attributes, and that's why there is an easy way to assign the same set of node attributes to many nodes at the same time. But that's not here or there. The thing is, I'm going into these node attributes, which is a huge, deeply nested hash, and the first level is the cookbook name, which in this case is Prometheus X. Under that, I have a key Prometheus, just to separate that from other Prometheus related services like the Alert Manager or the Black Box Exporter, the Node Exporter, and others. And under Prometheus, I have a node attribute or a hash key named scrape configs. And here I go through scrape configs and go through that by key value pair. The key in this case is a job, and the job key has a value named config assigned, and config is definitely another hash. And the problem is, while this works for the top level keys and values, if there is another hash nested under there, that's going to be one of these strange something meshes, and those don't get converted correctly. So what I'll try to do is to make sure this gets treated as a raw plain Ruby hash. But first, let's make sure we have a test for that. That's another practice that I've acquired over time, where if I encounter a bug, I try to first create a test that makes the bug reproducible, and then I run this test, which will of course fail. Then I can attempt my fix, and my test will then confirm or not if my solution is actually a solution. So we need to go into the Prometheus test suite here, and let's see. If I want to build a test with a broken configuration, I need a separate test suite for that. No, I don't. I just have to extend my test data in a way that will actually replicate the error. And that means I need to add test data in this kitchen.yaml file, which defines my test suites, because the test tool for the Chef infrastructure and configuration management software is of course named Test Kitchen. And so here I define a scrape config, Prometheus, and Node Exporter. And under Prometheus, for example, there are key value pairs, a scrape interval that should get written to the configuration file. And then there are two pseudo configuration settings, because they start with an underscore, they won't get written to the YAML configuration file verbatim. Those trigger a internal logic first, and those don't end up in the configuration file. So the only thing that gets written to the configuration file one-to-one is this scrape interval of 5 seconds. And what's missing here, and that's why this has been working so far, is that there aren't any keys that have not a scalar value as a value, but a hash. And we can do that. I just need to find something that we can actually nest under here. So we scrape Prometheus, which is under localhost port 1990. Is there anything that I can force in here that is actually valid and useful? So let's see. Let's search for Prometheus scrape config, something like that. Here's configuration. Let's simply take a look if there is something that we can put in here under scrape config. That's not just a simple key value pair, but something that is nested. For example, a basic authentication. In our test suite, we don't have actual basic authentication. But since I don't set up any, I might be able to define one nonetheless that then simply doesn't get used or doesn't have any effect. So that would be something that we could use here. There's also authorization, where you can add credentials. Okay. Authorization type bearer. And then credentials and a secret. That gets sent as a HTTP header. And if Prometheus doesn't do any authorization, then this should also just get ignored. I think that's the least confusing and intrusive way to get a nested value under here. Follow redirects, for example, we could set that to true, but that's then only another Scala value on the right side, so that's not what I'm looking for. Proxies aren't in place here, and that's it for the scrape configuration per se. And then there's the service discovery stuff, but we don't use any of these. All these here are simple key value pairs. Yeah, I guess. Let's try our luck with authorization, type bearer, and that's it, I guess. I am not sure if I need to specify credentials as well. If you just set type bearer, that might actually be completely transparent in terms of semantics. Let's do that. So, authorization, and here comes the nesting. That's that. Now let's run the test suite. In this case, it's going to be the Prometheus test suite, I think. I hope I did actually change that. Let's see. Which test suite are we talking about? Yeah, that's the Prometheus test suite.
It's a Unix system. I know this.
Friorian, welcome to the stack. Thank you for following. It's annoying me that you didn't get your nice alert on screen. And yeah, that's because I'm missing it in my scene definition here. Let me rectify this. We need a browser. For some reason, if I have this browser source nested in a subscene, it doesn't work. So let's try and get that fixed. What are we talking about here? That's the alerts scene here. Let's throw this out. Unfortunately, the opportunity to see Friorian's alert is gone. RJ, welcome to you too. Welcome to the stack. Unfortunately, you didn't see the video. There's actually no video attached to that. It's my little terminal. But still, I put a lot of work into that alert. Even brushing up my JavaScript to get that going, and it's really a shame that it doesn't work. But it didn't work up until now. I hope that it does work now. Let me actually give this a test, just to make sure that new followers won't suffer from the same issue. That's here. Let's see. So Friorian, imagine this was that this is for you.
It's a Unix system. I know this.
This time it worked. Let's hope it stays that way. Otherwise, I take a flight and kick Stream Elements' arse. Okay. Now, back to where we were. The test suite. Let's run a converge run for this test suite, which will now render stuff into our YAML file. And Prometheus will actually probably not even start because of that stuff. Well, if it doesn't start, we actually have more or less our test case, because that means the test that Prometheus is running will even fail. And that's a test we already have in there. I wouldn't even need a specific test that tests the contents of this YAML file. But in case Prometheus starts up after all, or in case we need a better hint at what's broken, I think I should still write a test case that checks this specific issue by just taking a look at the YAML file and making sure it doesn't contain any stuff. So let's log into that again. Yes, Prometheus doesn't run, and that's why at the moment the test cookbook is stuck at the Prometheus X test stabilize recipe, because Prometheus is not going to stabilize. I hope I built a timeout in there, so it does terminate eventually, otherwise it'll be stuck that way. But yeah, this is clearly an indication that Prometheus doesn't even start up correctly. And that's because in Prometheus YAML we again have that stuff in there. Authorization isn't just a key, it has for some reason this Ruby hash with IVARs stuff behind it, and so on, and that's just not correct. Now, since... Actually, let's take a look at the stabilize recipe in our test cookbook here, because that needs a timeout, and this is going to be an eternal loop here. Okay. What are we going to do? We'll use a counter here. And that's bash syntax, dear Copilot. That's not going to work here. Oh no, we are in bash. Okay, you got that better than I did. Yeah, so my code here doesn't even work. Let's retry counter equals, yeah, that looks better. If I was under the wrong assumption that I'm writing Ruby here, but it's not Ruby. If greater than exit 1, I guess. And we're not going to wait 60 seconds, I guess 30 seconds or something like that should do the trick. Okay, and of course we'll have to set retry counter to 0. At the start. So let's try this again, and this time it should stop after 30 seconds. It should basically abort after 30 seconds. Oh, there's still a chef client running, so there is something running in the background. So let's kill that VM. And let's do that test run again. Let's do the test run again. To keep that cup in my field of vision. Otherwise, I'll be drinking very cold coffee later. Now here we are in stabilize again. And now that should give up after 30 seconds. Bang! This broke. Got a lot of connection refused here. Okay. That basically means I don't have to build a test, because since this doesn't even converge, we'll never get to the test. And so there's no use in proving that it didn't work, because we can clearly see that it doesn't work. Which means I can go right ahead and work on my fix, which I think is Prometheus recipes from Prometheus X. This one here. I think we can fix that by calling 2H first, which converts this mesh of node attributes into a pure and plain Ruby hash, and then we can use each pair to iterate over that. And that should give us a non-broken configuration. So let's go right ahead and put this theory to the test. I don't see that there was not a... Oh yes, here, this got deleted in that file, and what was left is authorization type bearer. And this time the stabilized recipe did terminate correctly, because Prometheus behaved like expected, which means I should also be able to run the test suite on this VM successfully. See that everything is still working as expected. 32 tests successful, 0 failures. That's nice. Let's take a look at our configuration file again. That's a broken VM that doesn't exist anymore, so we can actually kill this pain and yeah, go in there directly. That's Prometheus 2004, right? Yep. So let's take another look at Etsy Prometheus YAML. Here we have the scrape configuration with a job name Prometheus, where we have our scrape interval of 5 seconds, but also authorization type bearer, which is unnecessary because there is no authorization, but it was just to provoke this specific issue. The question is, how do I document that? I can't write it into the YAML file. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I can't add comments to JSON, but I can actually add comments to YAML. Unnecessary, but how do I phrase that? The following I think I need to be a little bit expressive here. The authorization setting is irrelevant. It just provokes a failure if it doesn't get converted into YAML correctly. I think that should do the trick. So what we can do now is run the full test suite, but not from inside the VM. Let's do rake tests, which runs the whole fleet of tests that we have in here, which starts by testing that the version of this cookbook doesn't conflict with existing versions, which it does at the moment. So let's do a rake bump patch. We didn't add any functionality, it's just a bug fix, so it's a patch level bump, which gets rolled out automatically and immediately, even to production. That's a matter of care and responsibility, so people shouldn't deploy patch changes that actually have functional changes in them. But in my case, it's actually just a fix, and provided that the test suite does work fully, I can actually be pretty confident that it won't break anything in production. There is no changelog entry for this new version 091, which is correct. That's all stuff that I tend to forget, and that's why it's getting tested. And that's a fixed number 882, right? Yep. Fix conversion of nested hashes in the a scrape job definition. This keyboard suffers from an incorrect tap hold setting. I should fix that, because I have I have my control key, aka caps lock key, configured to deliver escape when tapped and control when held, and that hold function doesn't really work. That's why I'm getting a 6 when I try and press Control 6. We'll fix that quickly once this test suite has been started correctly. Yep, here we go. These are the VM-based integration tests, and while these are running, I can actually switch to my keyboard configuration and fix the Titan 60 configuration. And I did the same yesterday for my Polaris keyboard, so let's take a look at that. JLabs, GWiz, config, and we'll basically use the same settings here: a 200 milliseconds tapping term, permissive hold, and especially hold on other key press. So let's replace this, and by running util docker build. Which one is this? Ace keyboard Titan 60. Ace keyboard / Titan 60 GWIS. Let's flash that to the keyboard firmware. Go. That's the keyboard reprogrammed. So my control key should now work a lot better than before. And just to give you a short insight into what I'm doing here, that's the QMK firmware that's running inside my keyboard, inside of most of my keyboards actually. And that's a firmware where I can write my own keyboard layouts and keyboard behaviors in C. So for example, here I have the keyboard layout of the keyboard I'm currently using. In the left top corner, there's the escape key. Well, it's basically a standard QWERTY layout, escape, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But since I have a split backspace configuration, this line doesn't end with a backspace key, but instead after the equal key there are two keys, not just one, namely a backslash key and the graph and tilde key. And the backspace key is actually one row below that, where usually the backslash key is, which is really big, and so it's perfectly usable as a backspace key, and it's much easier to reach with my right pinky finger. But distractions aside, well, let's actually commit this quickly so it's preserved. That's Ace keyboard / Titan 60 GWIS. Fix tab old behavior. Push that to my private branch. And let's switch back to our cookbooks session, where the test is still running. That's why I'm using Tmux as my terminal multiplexer, so I can easily switch between sessions and do stuff while other stuff works in the background. When Fragberg wrote earlier something idle mind, devil's playground something, that actually reminds me of soapbox time. That reminds me of a book that I'm reading at the moment, which is called Time Off, and it's about exactly that. Time Off talks about how important it is to take time off work and other responsibilities to recharge. And there's a section in this book that talks especially about how much this Puritan ideology that came up in the 1800s, I think, 1700s, really did us a disservice. Because back then, yeah, the upper echelons, especially of the church, wanted everyone to be occupied. Otherwise, they would only have ideas that the elite didn't want them to have. And that's why an idle mind was pretty much vilified, and people needed to be occupied, needed to be in the factories, or at home, busy, because God forbid people would have leisure time and time to think for themselves. And that's definitely something that we need to get rid of in this 21st century. there is no shame in having leisure time, in having time off, in taking time to recharge, in taking time to take a broader view at the big picture. So that is in part why why I've actually scheduled these silent walks into my daily calendar, where, especially after live streams where I've been talking and working for 2 or 3 hours, and I'm going to take one of these walks where I can simply breathe out and have my brain process stuff and have stuff surface that I didn't even expect. So yeah, this it's proverbs or idioms like this, idle mind, devil's playground, that needs to be eradicated. And my test suite did finish without any errors, which makes me happy. We can actually go ahead and write a nice commit message, fix scrape job conversion. The node attribute values for scrape jobs can't be converted into YAML directly because that would include chef metadata. They need to be converted into a plain Ruby hash first. And that fixes issue number 882. Let's push that. Let's create a merge request for that. Just a second, I'll get that on screen as well. Here we go. Let's move this here. And I guess I'll just take this exact commit message. Including the fixes comment. Okay. Yep. Nice. Let's reformat this. That was actually already in there, so let's do this like this. Assign this to me. I'll leave the reviewers unassigned because that's really just a quick fix here. Doesn't need any approval. That's all good. And I'll actually get this merged as soon as CI has done its testing. So I'll... Oh, there has been a change to our repository in the meantime. Someone else was working on that repository. So, yeah, I'll rebase that on the new master branch. And now I can set this to auto merge so it gets deployed automatically. Let's take a look at the CI pipeline. Here's just the test suite. Again, CI just goes ahead and makes sure that everything does work as intended by running the same test suite that I ran locally before. It runs that on the CI system. This is going to take a little time, but I have to wait for this to finish because only then will it actually deploy this cookbook, and only then I can use it in the other cookbook that I had been working on until I encountered that bug. So this is more or less a sequential and serial thing. I wonder why there is only a test job. Oh yeah, okay. This is running the test for the merge request to add the CI test result to the merge request, and if that is positive, then the merge request will be automatically be merged into the repository, and then we'll have the actual deployment job that uploads this cookbook update to our chef server. All right, this will take a minute or two. So let's keep this on screen and see what happens. Now we're running the converge run inside the VM. That's already finished. Now it runs the test. Everything is green, 13 successful tests, that's nice. And now it goes on to run the other 3 test suites. So this should be finished pretty quickly. We do have cookbooks that take up to an hour to run all its tests. But since this cookbook here is very specific and very targeted with only Prometheus, this is pretty quick, thankfully. Is there anything else I can do? No, I don't think so. You know what? While this is running, we could do a little words on stream. How about that? Do I have to replace it all the time? Let's fix this. There we go. So if you'd like to participate, you can simply use the QR code to join me on this game. Let's also silence the music. It's a little word game, simply to find anagrams of a set of letters, and you can simply do that in chat. So let's see where we are. Okay. RJ, I hate you. Dragon Dust, hey, you can't use letters twice. Oiling, man. Okay, I'm a little bit in a disadvantage here as a non-native speaker, but it's fun. Anything else? There are more words apparently. Oh yes. No? Why not? Oh, RJ had that already. Okay. Lino. Oh yes, of course. Oh, I wouldn't have thought of that. We did complete the goblin. Wow, yeah. Great. Shall we continue? Let's go to level 2. And you can always, if you found one, you need to wait until the next stage gets unlocked. What? Stan isn't a word. Apparently it doesn't use names. It does? How didn't it take my Stan? Very few vowels here. Shank, very good. letters, I think. Than, of course. I think I'm going to learn quite a few words this way. This is very different in terms of language thinking. Alrighty. So let's go to level 3 and then we'll take a look at my CI job, which has finished by now. Oh dear. Oh, damn you! I wasn't in the chat window. How many 5-letter words are there? I'm fascinated. Unfortunately, you can't unveil the other solutions. I would really be curious what the other 2 5-letter words here are. Indeed, yeah, of course. Now it's obvious. Well, I got one. Woohoo! We could go to level 5. I'll park it at this point. We can resume that later. Let's take a look at my test suite first. I need to get my work done. Alright, thanks for playing. This was fun. This was the first time that I was playing Words on stream, and now I'm blaming myself for not doing that earlier. This was really fun. Okay, so test suite did succeed, which means the CI job was finished successfully, which means it was automatically merged, which means there should be another pipeline running. That actually passed as well. This was quite quick. Where it was released, which means there is now a version 0.9.1 of the Prometheus X cookbook. And that means I can actually return to my other cookbook, which is called Prometheus Freistyle, because my company is called Freistyle IT, and the managed hosting platform that we are running is Freistyle Box, which I admit is very, very German. Yeah, for many years now, I was considering changing the name and completely branding completely, and I will probably do that start of next year, because it's really hard to spell, and that's not good in terms of marketing. But for the time being, it is what it is, and I'll close this window, and I'll go back to the master branch, and I'll pull my latest changes that have been merged. And that means I can now go back to the Prometheus Freistyle cookbook, which builds on the Prometheus X cookbook. And I can also switch branches to... we can actually clean out 882. That's been merged. Not fully? Ah, yes, it was rebased. Okay, so I need to force that. It can't tell that this was actually merged. And we can go back to 881. And the latest state was work in progress at SSH config. And I think we can go right ahead and run the server Ubuntu test suite again. After I've changed the dependency, or did an update, but I need to actually change the dependency to force it to use... that's the wrong cookbook. That's easy to confuse, so let's close this tree down and go to the correct metadata file, where we depend on Prometheus X09. But we'll need to make it at least 091. So if I do a Burks install now, which is basically like bundler just for chef cookbooks, it's no longer valid. Oh, okay, so you may not specify more than one version constraint. Oh, that's right. That is... So that means if... Yeah, I'll do a Burks update then. Burks update Prometheus X. So that will pull in 091. And change the Burks file.log. So it's now 091 and everything gets tested with 091. I'm not 100% happy about that. I would love to force 091, which is not the case now. Our tests will use 091 because that is now stored in this burksfile.log file. But this burksfile.log file will not be used in production. It's just used in test scenarios. So in production, if there were no 091, this cookbook wouldn't work. I wonder how I can document this in a good way. Maybe it should be at least mentioned in the changelog or something. But anyway, let's converge server Ubuntu 2004. Oh, couldn't even log in because the VM wasn't spun up yet. But now that should work. Okay. There is no Prometheus. Configuration directory yet. The Acme default recipe that's running right now will take a few seconds, because there's a lot of stuff that it needs to set up. That's basically the Let's Encrypt certificate code that we use to get local SSL certificates, in this case for our Prometheus server and Alert Manager service and these things. Because, of course, we want to talk to these services in an encrypted and secure way. And that's why we deploy a Let's Encrypt client, basically, that is able to provide us with updated SSL certificates.
It's a Unix system. I know this.
Raj, welcome to the stack. Good to have you. I'm so happy because not only did you actually follow the stream, which means you do put some value on it, but also finally the alert did get displayed correctly when you followed, and so this makes me double happy. Welcome to the stack. So by now there should be a Prometheus subdirectory. Yes, there is. And now let's take a look at our Prometheus YAML, especially the scrape configuration for SSH, which now looks like it's supposed to look. We use a metrics path of /probe because that's what we need to use with the black box exporter, which provides us with the SSH check. And then we need to specify a few static request parameters. In this case, we have module SSH banner. And we want to test SSH for localhost. That's why this target of 127.0.0.1 gets defined here. And then we'll have to also add some rewrite logic. So because this does not yet work as intended. And yeah, that's what we need to add now. And that's what I was about to do on Tuesday's stream when I encountered the bug that I just fixed. What do I need? I need Firefox. I need basically the scrape configuration for the black box exporter. Is this... Oh, it's actually described here. Yeah, I need these relabel configs. So I need to turn that into proper configuration for myself, which thankfully is also YAML. Which means this should be pretty easy to actually adopt. That's... no, wait. That's in the kitchen YAML. Down here, it's just not indented right. It's one space off. How is that possible? And that sound was my... alert system. Okay. There's an emergency support ticket. I have to pass that on. Okay. Oh, my initial key here was one off. Okay. So, since these streams are supposed to be educational, I'll explain what this does actually. So the black box exporter offers me different modules that I can use to basically send requests to a service. And so I can send requests to a HTTP endpoint, for example an API or even a website. I can also send a request to an SSH endpoint, which is only a specialized version of the TCP probe. I have actually set up a SSH banner module in the black box exporter. I think that's even... No, that's not in here. Why is that not in here? That should be in here, actually. We need to set up the black box exporter too. Let's start with that, actually. That is strange. But that's something that I can actually steal from the Prometheus X cookbook, because in there we do set up the black box exporter. We just can't test it because we don't have any Prometheus set up in there, but we do actually. Wait a second. I shouldn't test the same thing in two different places. So what I do test in the Prometheus X cookbook, which is the more generic cookbook, I talk directly to the black box exporter on port 9115. And here I only use the ping module, actually. And now the question is... what do I actually want to test here? Thindle is at DreamHack. Greetings to DreamHack. Welcome to the stack, Thindle. Hope you're having a great time. How's DreamHack? What did you see so far? Anything that you are excited about? Awesome. Did it start today? Taking the hallway track, I see. DreamHack Winter in Jönköping. That's awesome. I have to admit, Winter and Jönköping together in one sentence really conjures images of deep snow, nights that are brighter than they're supposed to be. It really makes me feel very cozy. Or yeah, okay, yeah. Nights that are darker than they are supposed to be. Or really, really dark. But still, I don't suppose you have snow there, do you? It's just that Scandinavian winter romantic scenario. Oh, you did get snow. Okay. No. It's always that conundrum. What do I test and where do I test it? And should I really test that? So in this Prometheus X cookbook, in this more utility cookbook, we talk directly to the black box exporter, which does make sense because it allows us to to test that functionality. We can't actually test Prometheus other than setting it up correctly and expecting it to work. And we could have done that in this underlying cookbook, actually. So in here, by actually setting up this Prometheus YAML with a scrape configuration for the black box exporter, which we do now. Okay. Which we do now, where we have... No, we don't. Oh, I just... Okay. Now that I'm thinking this through... Oh, wait. Shouldn't that look differently? Where's this... Where's the comment that I added here? Now I'm confused. Wait. We did pull in the Prometheus X Kitchen YAML. Oh, I didn't pull the latest changes into my pre-existing branch. That's why I'm missing this stuff. Okay. Oh, yeah. How to git? You git. Okay, let's make this a work in progress. Commit, then we'll rebase our changes onto master. And now we have a... Okay. What we could have done here, and I didn't think of that, is to actually build the actual scenario that I wanted to build in the first place, namely setting up a separate scrape job for the black box exporter, and we could have even set up a ICMP probe here, and that would have actually done the same thing, but it would have been more useful. Instead of adding a bogus authorization section here, I could have just built what I am supposed to build, namely a scrape job that accesses the black box exporter. I'm stupid. And I think now I want to go back and do exactly that. Okay. Learning in public, that's what this stream is all about, and I just learned something. I'm not sure what it was, but yeah, I learned something. I'm already setting up the ICMP probe here. I called this probe ping because it uses the ICMP prober. And we could simply set up a scrape job that accesses the black box exporter, and yeah, we'll do that. Let me think one step further. What this then has as consequences for the cookbook that I'm working at the moment, which builds on the Prometheus X cookbook. Do we even have to do something here? Yes, we have to set up a SSH probe and stuff like that, which the original Prometheus X cookbook doesn't. We could set up SSH because that's available in the test suite, but I think we can leave it at ping 2. And then I'll go back to the Prometheus Freesteel cookbook and set up SSH and ping. We don't even have to set up ping because we're using the node exporter to get metrics from each of our systems, so that's a more high-level monitoring check. So we're not going to rely on ping, but we definitely need to check if these machines are reachable via SSH. So that's what I'm going to do in the high-level cookbook, but first we'll return to the low-level cookbook and replace the bogus YAML configuration here with some really sensible stuff. Okay. Okay. Which means let's go back to GitLab and let's see. How do I get to my issue as quickly as possible? That's the CI job. And that's, since it was a merge, is not related to the issue itself anymore. So let's return to the original issue here where we set up the black box exporter. First of all, I'll make that more specific. The goal is not to enable checks like SSH connectivity. We'll actually make it specifically for this check. So the SSH connectivity check requires the black box exporter. Let's write that in title case because it's the actual name of the service. So that's that. We've set up the basic black box exporter configuration in Prometheus X. But I'll add another task here. Replace the construed nested YAML in Prometheus X with an actual black box scrape job. Okay. That's task 883. So I will quit this, shut down this. Why doesn't it shut down? Kitchen YAML can't be parsed. Why is that? Is it because of the comment? Or did I make a change that I didn't? No, that's not it. What did I break? And how do I find what I did break? Kitchen diagnose to help debug your issue. Okay, let's try that. Then that's bundle exec, kitchen diagnose -- no instances -- loader. Boom. Exception error passing kitchen YAML. Backtrace, lots of backtrace stuff. It did work so far. Question is, am I in the right? Yeah. Oh yes, of course. I copied in these relabel configs, but I forgot to actually... No, I didn't forget that. That's actual YAML. Copied one. Yeah, it's not indented correctly. That's the problem. I didn't fix the indentation. But that's not... Oh yeah, I'm in the wrong file here. I keep confusing these two cookbooks because I have them open at the same time. Load file. Okay. That's that. Let's close this shell. Let's switch back to master. Well, of course, can't create that. And now let's make sure we have the latest version already up to date. Let's create a new branch, 883. Scrape job. And that means we go to Prometheus X. Let's close this down so I don't keep confusing the two as easily. Division by 0. Hello, colleague. How you doing? I already noticed you working on Cheffer as well. Forcing me to rebase my changes. How dare you? How's it going, Marcus? I hope you're doing well. I'm having fun configuring Prometheus. And things are going well. Yeah, exactly. How dare you? Finding ways to improve stuff that I built myself is always a great thing. Learning in public, as I said. Now, let's see. I wanted to get rid of the... bogus stuff that I added up here, which has now again disappeared. What the actual frick? Oh, there. Did I... Where did that comment go? Oh, yeah, of course. No, okay. So, the fact that I had to add this comment to simply explain why I'm adding this authorization configuration should have been already a sign to myself that there must be a better way to do this. A more sensible way, so I don't have to explain why I'm doing something that is apparently nonsensical and irrelevant. And yeah, I should have thought this through a little bit more. My gut feeling should have been more prominent at that point. And what we're going to do is actually we'll remove that and we'll leave the Prometheus scrape configuration alone. We'll keep that as it was, and we'll also stick with the current node exporter scrape config, and we'll define a new scrape config that we'll call ping, where we'll define a scrape interval, and I guess it's not really relevant, but let's also scrape that every 10 seconds, and it's an interval, not an interball. And here we are forced to add something nested anyway, so yeah, I should have taken that approach earlier. And the scrape interval is actually also a static list. Target list is localhost, but I think the Blackbox exporter expects us to pass in an IP address, so we'll use that. And now we need something that is a nested hash in here, not just a key value pair. And that's exactly what we need, and that is the Prometheus rewrite logic. So let's get that again. Where did we get that from? That was this one here. We can actually just paste that in here. Okay. So now I can actually explain what this configuration means, just to give you an indication of how Prometheus thinks. Down here I've set up the Blackbox exporter, and that's a surprisingly simple thing, because all you do is basically set up modules that use a specific prober, one of the probers that's available with the Blackbox exporter, and these probers all do send out requests to specific endpoints using specific protocols. So I guess one of the easiest protocols here, or simplest protocols, is ICMP, where you can send out a ping. So I've defined a module called ping, that's an arbitrary name, and I'm using the ICMP prober, which sends out an ICMP request and expects an ICMP response back. That's it. There's also a prober for HTTP, where you can send a HTTP request and then define all kinds of details for this HTTP request. For example, should it be a GET request or a POST request? Should it check SSL? Should it check if the SSL certificate is valid, and things like that? But it all hangs off the HTTP prober. And there's also a TCP prober and a UDP prober, where you can actually send out requests using TCP, for example, and then, of course, define which port the request should be sent to, and, for example, if there is a specific response that you expect back. And that allows us, for example, to define an SSH check, where I send a TCP request to port 22 of a specific machine, and I then expect the usual OpenSSH banner to appear to be returned before I even have to do the whole authorization and authentication process. And that way I can actually define an SSH check that connects to port 22, expects the OpenSSH banner, and then closes the connection again, happy that there was an actual OpenSSH instance that was able to respond. And that's what we ultimately are going to configure in the other cookbook. But in this more abstract and more generic cookbook, I'll simply set up the ICMP probe for a test scenario, and I'll ping the only machine that I can reach in this test scenario, which is localhost. I mean, I could try and connect to something like 1111 or so, hosts that I do know exist, but it's not a good idea to depend on external systems in your test suite if you don't have any control over them. And that's why I'll stick with localhost. And then the thing is, here, this is Prometheus configuration. So that's the central Prometheus server that sends out requests to specific exporters. For example, the Blackbox exporter. And the request for this Blackbox exporter needs to... No, the request that Prometheus sends out needs to be sent to a target. And that's why I have this target list here. However, the Blackbox exporter, in turn, then also needs to send out a request, namely the ping. So Prometheus needs to ask the Blackbox exporter to send out a ping and return the metrics that this ping request generated. So this target list here is a bit ambiguous, and we will have to ask, is this target list the list of systems I want to ping? Or is this the list of Blackbox exporters I want to talk to? And to resolve this ambiguity, we'll have these three different relabel configurations. Balthazar, hi to you too. Welcome to the stack. Happy to have you here. How are things on this nice Thursday, on which now the sun is setting on me? I'll have to do my walk in semi-dark later. Balthazar wrote, if possible, I like to do discovery to find my default gateway and test that, if assuming that you'll have a default gateway, is saying. That's sensible. But in my test scenario here, where I spin up a VM and run my tests inside this VM, there is not much that I can expect to exist other than the VM itself, and that's why we'll limit this to localhost. So, to resolve the question, which target? List of Blackbox exporters or list of ping targets? We'll have these relabel configs. And here we need to basically make this target list the list of ping targets. As this is, Prometheus will take this as the list of Blackbox exporters, or to something exporters it is supposed to talk to, and we'll have to fix that, and that's happening here. So what we do in this last relabel statement here is we take the address from the target list. This underscore address underscore is a placeholder for each element of the target list. And we'll take each address and replace it with the address of the Blackbox exporter, which runs on localhost port 9115. So that means Prometheus will go ahead and iterate over this target list, which only has one item, but anyway. And it will replace that with the address of our black box exporter. So it won't send the its own metrics request to localhost, not even defined which port. Instead, it will send its metrics request to the black box exporter. And that way, that's all right. That has fixed the ambiguity. And we have more than one target. Each of these metrics requests will be sent to the black box exporter. The problem is, how is the black box exporter now supposed to know which address it has to ping? Well, that's what happens in the relabel configs that are listed before this one. What we do is we take the address, the item from the target list, and we'll save it in the __ param target value or register. And __ param means this will become a HTTP parameter in the metrics request that Prometheus sends out. And the parameter will be called target. And so the URL that Prometheus will connect to will have target equals 127.0.0.1 in it. It will also have another parameter, and that is statically defined, which is called modules. That should be a hash key, but modules itself is an array, and the module that we need to use is exactly the module that is defined down here, which is named ping. We named that ping, so we need to reference that here. So now Prometheus will take the address from the target list, each address from the target list, but there is only one. Store that in the target parameter of its metrics request that it'll send out. So target equals 127.0.0.1. It'll also have a parameter called modules, which has a list of modules that should be used. So there is a parameter called modules equals ping. And that is basically enough for the black box exporter to operate, because Prometheus will contact the black box exporter at port 9115. It will give it a parameter module ping. It will give it a parameter target address, namely 127.0.0.1. So the black box exporter now knows I am supposed to ping 127.0.0.1. And then there is this third relabel config that also takes the param target value, which is the IP address that is supposed to get pinged, and it stores it in the instance label, which is commonly used in Prometheus for the instance or the host with which the metrics it gets back get associated. So in the end, we'll have metrics that we'll get back from the black box exporter, and these metrics will then be tagged with the instance tag, and that tag will have the value of the machine that we've pinged, which is also 127.0.0.1. I hope that was at least a little bit coherent for you. If you have any questions, don't hold back. Pop into chat and ask. I'm happy to illustrate that. Apparently my son has stolen my... No. Oh, I'm blaming the wrong people. I did take my iPad to Starbucks earlier. And I actually don't know where I put it. Oh, yeah, okay. So if you want me to visualize what's happening here, I can do that. I'll just have to grab my iPad and paint you a picture. But I hope you could at least a little bit understand what I was telling you. Bertha's alright, it's American Thanksgiving today, so I'm gearing up to head into the kitchen and make a bunch of tasty victuals. What are victuals? To look that up. Never heard the word. Victuals. Eatable provisions. So it's just a... Is that just a generic word for food? Interesting. Let's go to Merriam-Webster, which is my favorite directory. Dictionary, I mean. Old West colloquialism. Okay. A bit like grub over here. Oh, that is... Is that derived from the Latin victuals? Victuales. Now chiefly used playfully to evoke the supposed language of cowboys. Okay. Well, happy Thanksgiving to everyone, if you are based in Northern America, and if you celebrate Thanksgiving. Make sure to upgrade all your relatives to Linux, and have fun eating turkey and other stuff. Ing. Okay. So that is the full Prometheus configuration. We'll need to set up an ICMP check, and that has nested stuff in there more than enough. Most importantly, this params key, whose value is another nested hash, because that was what provoked the issue in the first place. So let's go and make sure everything is still working. Now I have replaced the strange authorization header that was never used with something more sensible. And even though this is not going to be tested directly, simply by Chef actually writing valid YAML and thus not breaking the converge run is test enough in this case, because if this doesn't work, then the whole converge run will break, and so it won't even get to testing. So I don't have to write a test job for that. I'll just verify by not failing, basically. We'll have to go to source Prometheus X. And we'll have to do a bump of our version, and that's another patch bump. That's 092. Then I'll have to update the changelog. 092 for today. Replace what's the word if something is construed and a bit off? It's not derived, it's what's the word I'm looking for? Not derived. What's the word? If something is not really obvious, you tell that's pretty not deranged. Something like construed. Construed synonym, here we go. Probably slap my head. Also not confounded. Come on. Also not cryptic. I'm sure there's a word. I'm missing the word. If an example is not really something you would think of. It's a bad example because it only makes sense if you keep thinking about it. It's not obvious as an example. It's a synonym for construed. Let's go back to my editor. What replace D? Pretty sure it starts with DE. There it was. For a fraction of a second, it flashed to my brain. I won't stop searching for it until I have it. Replace the... Can't be that hard, can it? Will I look under confusing? Contrived was the word I was looking for. Right? Contrived? Lacking in natural or spontaneous quality. Because the configuration that I chose to prove that my stuff is working was very contrived. I even had to add a comment to even explain why it was there. And now I have replaced it with a example that makes sense, that naturally makes sense. Yeah. It didn't start with D, so I misled all of us there, but contrived configuration. Let's contrived scrape job configuration with an actual black box exporter setup that naturally makes sense. That is that. And that would, I guess, work. Let's run the full test suite right away. Pretty confident that it'll pass. That took a long time. Sometimes I feel like I'm struggling with finding words more than I did in the past. And I really wonder if I should address that with my GP eventually. Probably wouldn't hurt to do some cognition tests. If only to detect things like dementia or stuff like that early. Not trying to make myself older than I am, but it's thoughts like this that you get at a certain point of your life. Okay, folks, while this test is running, we could do another round of words on stream. Let's see. So, if you'd like to join, it's a word game. Yeah, let's continue where we left off earlier. We can play, you can use the QR code that's on screen to join, but you can, I think you can also join right in chat if you like. So, yeah, let's get started. Simply write your guesses in chat. Balthasar, showing off here. Of course. How did I miss that? This really is a brain teaser for me. Yeah, level completed. Good job, Balthasar. I mean, you have kind of an advantage, but still. And division by 0 also. Else? Well, we're almost done. Nice. All right. Unfortunately, my test suite broke. What was wrong? Okay. It talks to localhost 1990 and expects an alert. Ah, I can see. Okay. I think what's happening here is that I introduced a new metric, and that now makes testing the results of my test, of my checks here, unambiguous. No, ambiguous. Let's see. What does this test actually do? It was prompt tool something. So which test is this? That's not it. Is that here? We test that exporter 1, whatever that is. That doesn't exist probably. We expect that to be down, unreachable, and we expect localhost 9090 to be listed when we query the instance up alert. And yeah, now there are 2 instance up alerts or states, and that's localhost 9090. That's definitely in there, but it's not necessarily the element number 0. It's probably 1. I could try and replace that just to see if I'm right. Let's try this. So TKV, which one? Prometheus, Ubuntu, Ubuntu 2004. If we run this test again now with the updated test, it'll probably work. Yep. But of course, I can't really anticipate the order in which these are returned. So we must make this a little bit more flexible. So we get some JSON back, and we do test that. So I guess I'll have to update myself on the JSON resource. If there's a way we can parse arrays or something. For full list of available matchers. Matchers page. These are the generic matchers. But that's not what I'm looking for. So we're dealing with... Well, what are we dealing with? It's not trivial. We'll have two elements at the moment. One of them has an instance of localhost 1990 and one of them has an instance of 127.0.0.1. Maybe adding that black box exporter check wasn't a good idea in the first place. Maybe I should have started a new test suite for that. Have to keep that in mind. I might be on the wrong track altogether, but maybe we'll be able to also make this intelligent enough that problem is this is addressing array elements from the get-go. That depends on what this JSON resource returns, right? It basically decomposes the JSON and then I can navigate that. In a hash or array fashion, as far as I can see. So there's a top level key value pair with name and hello, but also a nested hash with meta and under that creator, which then has a value, John Doe. And then there is an array key, which under it has an array where we can actually work with indices, where the first index number 1 has the value 1. In our case, we're dealing with an array at the top level. It doesn't even have a hash key in front of it. It starts with an array right away, so we have to address the actual array elements here, I think. Let's do some debugging here. Want to know what exactly this is and what is available to me here. So we have a resource. The ping job is actually even triggering an alert, apparently. Wait, what are we querying here? Prompt to query instant. We are querying an alert for instance up. Okay. Here, raw content. That's our array, where we have a metric. Yeah, you're right. I should probably simply use JSON pretty print for that. I could simply pretty print the, wait, what was it? Raw content instance variable from that. Well, no, it's not alerting, it's the instance up alert name, so in this case it's actually good. The instance down would be a problem, but okay. Still, yeah, we have an anonymous, basically an anonymous array, or yeah, an array of hashes, and that's always hard to address. I would have to process that manually, collect metric names and something like that, but I'm reluctant to do that because I of course want to use the inspec DSL here and not just take the raw data. Was it raw data? Let's scroll off. I think it was raw data. I run that. No, it didn't print anything, did it? Yeah. This feels like I'm not on the right track. It's raw content. Raw content was the... Yeah, it's not much better to read because of the many backslashes. But it's that the problem is that these are two hashes listed in as array items, and I can't anticipate their order. We could use conditionals. We could say, no. I don't think that operating on this raw content structure is a good idea, because that's not public API. Maybe I should delete that check altogether, since it's really hard to test. We can anticipate that exporter 1 is down, because that doesn't even exist. We declared this test exactly because it is going to fail, but the instance up variant is not clear now anymore, and I think I'll just remove that for the time being. Oh, wait. I just noticed that this query alert here is just a macro, basically, for prompt to query alerts. Alert name equals name. And maybe we can narrow it down here. Because here we filter by alerts, alert name. What is this? I need to take a look at prom tool. Is that a kind of a JSON query where we can say alerts, alert name equals name, and we're looking for instance up? Maybe I can narrow it down that I'm not only looking for instance up. Here alerts, alert name instance up, but also instance or job ping. And the other job is Prometheus. I think that is a good way to do this. Query alert. We'll extend this to have an alert name and a job name. An alert name and a job. And we test for alerts, alert name. And that is a Prometheus query. So how do Prometheus query work again? Prometheus queries. Querying basics. How do we do an AND operation here? Those just get concatenated, I guess. I think that should work. So, alert name, alerts. Wait, I need to take a closer look. We have metric. Alerts. And alert name, instance up, alert state firing, instance 127, job ping, severity page. And that's the metric. Name alerts, alert name something. Okay, and what does prompt tool do here? Here it says alerts and then curly braces alert name equals alert name. So we should be able to write something like job equals and then job name and then we'll close this brace. And that way we'll do alert name, instance down, job Prometheus, and here instance up, also job Prometheus, because that was how about this? This is now going to break because my index doesn't work anymore, but there is something else that's broken. I guess the query is botched now. Failed to load profile test, failed to load source for alert rules spec, undefined local variable or method job name. Where did job name come from? Oh, yeah. Okay. And of course, if I query instance up for the Prometheus job, there's still only going to be one metric, so we can still use the 0 element. And we could add another test for the 1 element. Ah, still broke. That's not nice. Now we're getting nil. Because it's not an array anymore? Now I need to do some debugging here. Wait. That's an actual command. I guess I need to generate this command here and execute it by hand. But I also notice that I'm running out of time. Okay, so where is my command? Here. That's the prompt tool, query, instant stuff. I need to log into my test VM. No, that's not it. That's Prometheus Ubuntu 2004. Now we can paste that. Ooh, that's an empty array. That's not good. So if I remove that job query, I only get one result, right? Alerts, alert name, instance down. Oh, it's the instance down, yeah, okay. And the job is node exporter. So I was querying the wrong job here. Okay. Instance down. Ah, yes, of course. Our arbitrary node or host that we are pinging or that we are trying to reach here is via the node exporter. And the instance up is for the one is for Prometheus and the other for the black box exporter, which is the ping job. Okay, yeah. 3 different scrapers in play here. But that still didn't work. Inspec oh yeah. I broke this by not returning command. Here we go. So, if you wanted, we could actually say, okay, now we have a third scraper where we get another instance up, and that's the ping job. And since we are pinging localhost, that check is also successful. Severity page isn't really interesting here. Hey, Jerry Ramatis over on YouTube. Welcome to the stack. Which test framework are you using? This is called Test Kitchen, which is the test framework for Chef, which is our infrastructure automation software. We are using Chef to automate hundreds of Linux hosts in our managed hosting infrastructure. And since this code is really, really important to our business, we are putting a lot of effort into having a good test suite for these, so we can actually deploy changes to our infrastructure code without anxiety of breaking stuff that will affect quite a bunch of customers. So yeah, let's see if this works, or if I was too cheeky by adding another test case here. But nope, now we have 33 test cases, and they are all successful. I love it. I really do. So this is a much better version of what I had before. Thank you, thank you. It's highly appreciated. Thank you. This is what actually got me into Ruby. I started the hosting business in 2010. And I knew, okay, this infrastructure will hopefully grow, and I will have to automate this. And ideally, I'll automate it from the start. And so I had to choose a infrastructure automation or configuration management software. And back then, I had three choices basically, namely Puppet, Chef, and what was the third one? It's not really around anymore. It was built by a brilliant infrastructure engineer, but I don't recall its name or his name anymore. So yeah, it was basically between Puppet and Chef, and I took a look at Chef, and it looked really easy to read, and more or less on a gut feeling, I actually decided to use Chef over Puppet. And to be honest, I don't regret it, even 13 years later. And so I used Chef with its resources, where you create configuration files and declare services and systemd units and stuff like that. And only a few months in, I realized, wait, this is pure Ruby. I can actually use Ruby loops and conditionals and everything that is in the Ruby language to make my Chef recipes more powerful. And that's what got me into Ruby. And when later we had to decide, okay, we'll need a customer dashboard. We can't just use a ticket system anymore. That's also when we decided, okay, we'll use Ruby to build that as well, because now we can use Ruby in our infrastructure, we can use Ruby as our web framework, and we can use Ruby to build our own command line tools as well, because it's that flexible. And yeah, that's how we ended up loving Ruby. It's similar to Terraform. Terraform is more to spin up your infrastructure, especially if you have lots of infrastructure components like you do with AWS, where you have a virtual network, and you have security groups, and of course you have EC2 nodes, and you have access rules and stuff. That's what you use Terraform for. Chef as a configuration management software would be something that you would then run on your EC2 instances once you've spun them up using Terraform. So they would complement each other more than replace each other or compete against each other. Now, there will be people who say when you use Terraform, you really don't want to use Chef then to configure or set up your hosts. You'd rather use something like pre-baked images that Terraform can spin up right away. Yeah, it's more like Ansible in that sense. There are differences, which I can explain in a later stream, because I'm already running out of time. I'm already 10 minutes over time, actually. And I need to get a walk done before dinner, otherwise time will slip away from me. I have a World of Warcraft raid scheduled for later, so yeah, busy. Let me finish this. But if you want to know about Chef, simply pop up tomorrow. I'm going to do my office hour at 2 p.m. Irish and UK time, and we can talk about that in more depth at this point. Bethesda writes, like, you can go either way, Terraform plus Cloud Init, to make it for Ansible or Chef. Yes, of course. It's basically a matter of preference. What you do to get a running system. Brilliant. Yeah, 2 p.m. Irish time or UK time tomorrow, the Monospace office hour. At this point, we are good. I would say let's be optimistic that this test suite will be successful altogether. So Did I commit anything at this point? Fix scrape chop conversion. No, we didn't commit this in any way. So, wait. Yeah, that's head, and we haven't committed anything yet, and it's just these few changes here. Interesting. Okay, let's write a nice commit message here. What is this? This is more of a chore, I'd say. Prometheus X. Replace contrived config. That's enough for the title. Instead of adding irrelevant configuration data to provoke the YAML conversion issue, this change introduces an actual black box exporter configuration that makes sense in this context. And this closes issue number 883. Okay, instead of running my... I'll run my test suite here locally, and I can check back into that either later today, which is not very likely because of my schedule, but then early tomorrow. And then I create a merge request and merge this, and then I'll be able to finally finish the black box exporter setup for SSH that I need. But this was still a good use of my time because, yeah, I would like this infrastructure code to be really, really good and easy to understand. Okay, folks. I'm not sure if doing words on stream actually kept me going, but that was actually the plan, because I noticed that oftentimes I get tired or I lose momentum during my streams, and then they'll end up just being 90 minutes or maybe 2 hours. But today I was able to go on for more than 3 hours doing this stuff, and I think having these breaks in between with words on stream certainly helped, if not were key to me to keep going. So we'll definitely keep that as a regular element of my streams from now on. I'm really, really chuffed about this. And yeah, folks, thanks for stopping by. This was really fun and productive. And I hope to see you tomorrow at my office hour at 2 p.m. Irish time. And of course, next week when we are going to do more of this stuff. Yeah, 100% agree, Balthazar. We need to do that. If you want to stay in touch, stop by on our Discord. And yeah, I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'm looking forward to a nice round of World of Warcraft with my guild tonight. But first, I'll have to do a walk to get my 10,000 steps in. And then it's also going to be dinner time. Have a great day. Thanks for chatting. It was a lot of fun. I'm really, really grateful. And I hope to see you soon. Until then, take care.